Welcome into the PHNX Rising podcast. Appreciate you guys joining us here for post game in the now dubbed PHNX Rising Gutter. That really kind of encapsulates the game as best we can. Rising fall to Tampa Bay 2-0. Jackson Conway got sent off 2 minutes after subbing on. Rising let up a goal in 10 minutes. Off of JJ Williams, ex-Rising striker. And then, Rocco Rios Novo is rooted to the spot in the second goal. Really, that's pretty much the highlight, those three things. No attacking from Rising to be found really whatsoever. And here we are, gross game. I'm, of course, joined by Owain Evans. Yeah, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
That
was dire. That was dire.
Yeah. I think this team finds new ways to really not show up, I guess is the best way I can put it. This is now Rising's third match in 4 games where they've had a man sent off. And really in the other 2, you could say there was a bit of fight. There was a bit of something. There was at least a response. And really, there was not a response, not after the red card, not after the second half, not after kickoff. There was no response.
There was fight. It just looked like the kind of thing you'd see in a Leeds nightclub on a Friday night after someone's had far too many to drink. That's the fight that we saw out there.
Close.
Look, I'm actually, Max, you know what? I'm just going to cut you off here and say, quite frankly, we don't have many thoughts that are particularly positive. Let's actually just toss it immediately to what Juan's first thoughts were after the game, his overall comments there.
It's not good enough. Not good enough, Owain. Tonight we have to apologize to our fan base. Tonight we have to apologize to our supporters. We have to apologize to the people that are behind us. This is not the face we want to show. Tonight was not good enough. We have a lot of reflection to do, and we must make sure that things change very quickly because it wasn't good enough. Not just playing wise. At moments in the first 15, 17 minutes, we're not good. They were not good. You cannot start a game in the road versus the Tampa Bay Rowdies and come out that flat. You cannot. Then after that, we looked a bit more alive. But then the last 5 minutes of the first half, we give away an easy turnover that leads to a free kick, and then they punish you. And then in the second half is the discipline again. We cannot leave the team with 10 men ever again. Ever again. Not under these circumstances. So a lot of reflection to do tonight, and I just have to make sure that performances like tonight doesn't repeat again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I got nothing else further on that. You?
This is a very short post-game show at this rate.
It is.
Look, I mean, in some ways, I'll be honest and say he's stating the obvious, and I get that. It's not easy. Look, I mean, we can dig into quite what exactly he's supposed to say in those moments, and the answer is that there's not a lot that he can say in those moments, really, besides owning up to the fact that it just wasn't good enough. And it was dire. It was dire. I think that what we saw out of this team, quite frankly, was the fact that they gave up. I think they mentally tuned out in parts during the game. I feel as though they came out flat, as Juan said. You fall behind, and they didn't really have the attacking prowess to actually create anything of note from it. We actually see Juan go quite attack-minded late on in the game, and yet what we know here is, or what we see is just, I mean, look, I wasn't expecting to see something that would rival Babu Kajai's red card, especially not this close for just how daft it was. Truly daft.
Yeah. Yeah, man, this is one of those where I think you look at the entire match, and like we said, in the other 2 previous matches where there was a red card, there was a response. You can say maybe they were they were hard pressed or unlucky red card, lucky double yellow, at least for Carlos Harvey, in that match. But, this one, there's not really anything you can say about it. Just a really tough one. When Rising was already down, I mean, there was no indication they were going to get back into the match at all. So this is really just insult to injury in the 78th minute. Just the way it happened really just encapsulates this game quite well, that Rising never showed up at any point. And I think the one thing that really was the most bothersome is it's not like in the other matches where I would at least say, hey, Rising is playing somewhat good defense, or hey, Rocco's standing on his head. It really was just laps
Rocco
all
did
around.
all right.
Well,
Rocco did all right. I know you
Yeah.
you blamed him for, or it sounded as though you were blaming him for the free kick goal. I wouldn't quite go that far. I think that in that case,
it was a close one. There's not much you can do about that.
It's very central. There's
Yeah.
not much you can do there. But
Yeah.
it's I don't know. I mean, as the Guardian Man Pat is saying here in the chat, we are of course going to have to see Arteaga next week. We've got Bandidos Bluebird in here also, really talking about the ownership have got to dig deep and buy Juan some creativity up front.
Yeah.
I get that. Look, again, we see Juan finally really go for it, realizing you got backs to the wall and you've got to try and push for anything that's going to get you on the scoreboard, and just ultimately given incredibly poor response from Jackson Conway.
Well, it's a tough one, man. I mean, I think when you go down 2-0 going into halftime, and yes, you have to start throwing numbers forward. You don't have the luxury of being a balanced team where you're able to build up through possession, everything like that. When you give away the goals that you did, and again, it wasn't the goals were scored well before they started pushing into attack. It was something that I don't think it was just on the attack. It wasn't just about the striker this time. It wasn't just about the attacking third. It was a full-on team lapse in all three levels. They were out physical. They were out dominated in aerial duels, everything. It was just one of those where we have not seen a complete team letdown really in this failure, even in other matches before. So this one was tough. This was really tough.
Yeah. I mean, actually, many in the chat, on social media, ourselves included, actually, were calling for Conway to be given a chance up top. And to a degree, this is what we see today. It raises serious questions. You can't go doing that 2 minutes into your sub appearance. I'm sorry, what? No.
What?
You go on, you swing your elbow like that, you're asking for trouble. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get what on earth he's going through his head as he does that. I don't get why he thinks that that's the right thing to do at all. I mean, he's going to miss at least one game. USL being USL, it probably will just be one game. In other parts of the world, you'd be looking at a lengthier ban for that, but USL is quite lax on violent conduct red cards. So I don't know, but it's not. Again, I think the thing that we've seen in recent weeks is that even when results haven't gone Rising's way, there's always been the kind of positive take that you can bring out, which is that, well, they have improved, they are improving, it's improvement week over week. Today was not that. Today was not that. It was poor. There's still time to turn it around. But I mean, we shouldn't burn everything down because of a bad result. However, I do think that it exposed some of the bigger flaws on this team.
Certainly, seeing definitely some comments in here. Scott, many, including our pod host, were pushing him Conway chance. And then he pulls this. Completely agree. BG, maybe I misjudged this team. I thought they were better than they are. PHX, so far they have been disappointing, but I'm still hopeful they'll deliver the chemistry you need and to obtain wins. It's listen, it's all on the table. This team is incredibly streaky. This is something that's not new to us, especially at home. They seem to perform not only better, but with a more sustained attacking threat. They did have, I would say, the first 5 minutes of this match actually came out decently attacking to some degree, better than I would say.
I don't know. I mean, Juan disagreed with you there in some ways. Gallardo was an attack-minded player, very attack-minded from the position that he was in. If you actually look at his average position, he was further up the field than any of Tampa Bay's defenders.
It was I say that in the sense that won a couple corners. They're at least pushing to press on their end a bit. It's splitting hairs, man. Like I said, I would say maybe this is a better 5 minutes than maybe some other matches, but certainly after that 10 minutes, it's all downhill. There was no let up after that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I will say actually, though, people have been referencing owners. I do see Brandon McCarthy just walking around the field below us at the moment. So. Yeah, he was here to witness this. It's poor game.
Well, let's get in the numbers. Let's dredge through this. Put numbers to our feelings. Tampa Bay, beat Rising 2-0, 1.36 XG for Rising, 1.5 for Tampa Bay. Seems pretty spot on. I mean, the XG for Rising even seems kind of high, but I mean, again, not even really many clear-cut chances, seemingly. Rising with the hollow victory of possession, as they so often have done this season.
Possession FC, yeah.
Possession FC. Yep. Shots 11-19 in favor of Tampa Bay, and shots on goal 2-6 in favor of Tampa Bay. Yeah, man. I mean, again, the stats never really tell the story. They're really but neither team was really incredibly offensive or enticing.
I feel as though Tampa Bay could have scored more, though. Tampa could have scored more. Tampa could have scored more in that game.
They could have. They were the more attacking team.
There were a few moments where I feel as though Rocco did bail Rising out.
Yeah.
Be it that they created a one-on-one chance, they were winning headers in the penalty area they shouldn't have been. Quite frankly, the marking was not good enough on.
No.
And yeah, I think there's a lot of things like that. I mean, I tell you what, we're looking at the chat in a minute now, and goalie man Pat, can we find someone other than Crutzen to serve in the corners? No one was threatening. Look, if it wasn't for the fact that there was enough to speak about today, other than that, I would have asked Juan about that today. I think it's going to have to be something that we address in the next week or so, because it's yeah, I understand the comments that we saw on social media where people were saying, well, we'd heard that Fede was actually quite good at whipping corners in. That is what I'd seen. So, yeah, I do wonder, to be honest, why Crutzen at this moment in time is taking those and not Federico Varela. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You also lose a center back going forward in that position when he can get on ahead of these things. And Rising really needed all the height and I would say strength that they could. They were constantly beating the box. And yeah, I'm not sure, I wouldn't say completely down to a lack of strength or height, but really just to your point, very poor positioning. JJ Williams was pretty open on that first goal, made it relatively easy. And I see Bandito's Bluebird comment here. Thoughts on JJ Williams compared to our forward options? I mean, it's another game where Rising
proven scorer in this league. It's something that, again, I fear that we are looking back to now. Is Manuel Arteaga creating enough? And if he isn't, what's the alternative? And at this point in time, what you're looking at as the alternative is a Jackson Conway that's currently suspended now after his incidents today. And that's, quite frankly, I mean, it was such poor discipline that I don't really have anything else to say on that one, to be honest.
I haven't seen I don't think I've ever. I'm sure there are out there. I have not seen a straight red given quite that quickly, at least in my recent memory.
It's happened. It's happened.
Oh no, I'm sure it has. Like I said, haven't seen it.
Idiotic. I mean, I'll have to look up the USL record book later, see if it's in there. But it was poor. It was poor, I think, overall. Right, moving on.
Yeah, straight elbow to the dome. That actually leads very well into our man of the match. Really tough one. So many.
I'd have given it to no one.
Yeah, so many different performances.
Whistles, okay.
Yeah, I like to put a positive spin on that. Whistles, 1 red card, 26 fouls, 10 offsides calls, 7 of them going to Rising, that's a heck of a stat. Tough one. Very choppy game, very gross game. And I mean, I really would be hard pressed for anyone to find a somewhat decent performance. Again, Rocco, maybe the only one who put in a handful of saves, but even I thought he could have done better in certain areas. And even the ones where Tampa Bay didn't score, I think he came off his line in questionable situations. So tough one. Yeah. All right.
I mean, this is a very, very rough post-game show because it was just so bad that I think there's not much that we can really say. But on that note, actually, should we have a listen to the next one video?
Let's do it.
So I'll say on this one, I asked them about how, you look at the goals they conceded. One of them is a header. One of them is a set piece. How frustrating is it to concede goals like that? So let's have a listen to what you said about those goals they conceded.
It's frustrating, but we were flat. We were flat those first 20 minutes. It's a 1-2 in a wide area that we get beat. We knew that they were going to play direct when JJ was on the field. We knew that they were going to utilize wide areas. And we spoke about the importance of winning duels. Tonight was about winning duels. Tonight was about character, making sure that you win your duels in those wide areas and make sure you win the duel when the ball's delivered to the box. Another free kick. They could have scored probably two more corner kicks. Yes, they're a big team. We have to deal with it. It has to be better. We worked in it. And tonight I just didn't see the face of who we are. Tonight we're not. It wasn't us on that field. And tonight, like I said, it should never be repeated again.
Just to be clear here, if anyone was interested in the duels numbers, Rising won 39.6% of duels. They won 28.6% of aerial duels. So that paints a picture right there.
Yeah, man, it certainly does. Yeah.
So going about Pat's question here, actually, about Tampa was the turning point last year. I think it was a turning point, but I think a degree to which it was a turning point was not necessarily the fact that Rising didn't show up in that game. It was the sheer magnitude of the scoreline. And I think that in large part, it was also down to the post-game answers of Rick Shantz in that game. I think that was the game that gave birth to the shrug. It was the game that gave birth to the comment about how it wasn't the formation at fault, despite the fact, again, they lost 5-1. He was there saying that it worked. So I feel as though there's at least a difference in that. I wouldn't take it as quite what it was last year, but it's still, yeah, pretty miserable. I mean, it's hard to say no doom and gloom here. What's to come, all about the future. Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
how do we rectify things is the question actually in there. It's a good question. I think that they need to be a lot more clinical up front. I think they need to do a lot more in the final third. The issue that Rising have sometimes, I think, is they're still very much... Look, we made the sarcastic remark earlier about Possession FC, but it does still kind of get into that problem of they repeatedly will pass the ball around and pass the ball around and pass the ball around. And when you are losing, you don't necessarily see the urgency that you need to see. You don't necessarily see the finishing as well. And you don't see the balls in that always are quite what you require in those moments. So I think that it's, broadly speaking, the attack needs to be better. One of the reasons that I think I was concerned watching this game is that when they go 2-0 down, I don't see Phoenix Rising scoring 2 goals. I just don't. Not the way they played today. I don't see them doing it.
They've scored more. I mean, they've scored 2 goals only a handful of times this season, over 2 goals only one time. It's just it wasn't there today. Again, I think on our part, the lack of I would say response, or even in a negative way, just the lack of emotion on either of our ends right now is just, it was one of those matches where you're almost kind of numb to the performance based on it. It was even worse than some other ones. I'm sure we'll probably bring in a bit more passionately and fired up on Tuesday about it, but I think this is one you just kind of scratch your head and you don't really know what to think of it. Yeah,
it pretty much is.
Pretty much. Yep. Well, gosh, I'm not gonna even pull the transitions on you guys today. Appreciate our friends at Four Peaks coming through with all the good stuff they got going on. Four Peaks for Teachers. They're doing Teacher Appreciation Week starting on Monday. Thank a teacher, nominate them for grants, Four Peaks swag, all kinds of grand prize and stuff like that. Check out Four Peaks Brew and Four Peaks Pub on Instagram to keep up with all the stuff they got going on. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy Four Peaks responsibly. And also shout out Circle K. Very cool seeing our good handful of PHNX hosts and friends and everything like that at your local gas station at their GSTV. It's been really cool. Seen a handful of us, Lindsay, Derek, and Leah, just to name a few. So next time you're at a Circle K gas station, check us out for your crew, your boy. We'll be making an appearance shortly at some point. So check it out. Again, check out our friends at Circle K for all the great stuff they have going on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, they do. Yeah, I mean, the result today is, as Devin says in here, ultimately broke Adman, which...
that's fair. Yeah. That's fair. Yeah, they did. Yeah. They did. I'm a sad, I'm a sad Adman today. It's a toughie. Don't really know. Yeah, Devin definitely needs some OGs after this match. Buddy, who's to say I didn't take some during the match? So, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing I'm curious about this match, and this is something that was kind of fishy during the lineup. I would love to talk about that. I'm sure there was maybe, you tell me if there was maybe an injury or something that we weren't knowing that was nursing. But to me, the decision to push Mo out wide and then bring Harvey in, which I get they want to go with that midfield. It was a tough look where you were out muscled really from a high perspective and everything in that midfield.
I did actually ask Juan about that, and he said, look, you can't blame the result on the midfield. He didn't think that was where they lost it. It was just the poor start to the game, the way they fall behind, and the fact that the character wasn't necessarily there, and then the discipline in the second half ultimately shoots themselves in the foot. I mean, Uzo was injured. That's why we see Mo out wide. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. I think. Look, we can actually speak though. If we're going to talk about injuries, I do have a piece that started with Juan talking about Mo Traore and him going off injured, and then kind of moves on to some of the bigger picture about the game.
Yeah.
Let's have a listen to what Juan had to say there.
He twisted his ankle. He twisted his ankle twice. He twisted it in the box, and then he tried to keep going, and he twisted again. So we had to pretty much make a substitution at half. But that's not an excuse. The substitutions is not the excuse. Coming over here with a midfield that was less physical than them is not an excuse. It's what happened in the game, and it's understanding that we were not good enough. It was not good enough. There's not an excuse that I'm going to put on the table of what happened tonight. Just have to make sure that we come up and we show up ready to work again, because we have a fan base, a supporting group, and an ownership group and an organization that we represent, and we need to understand where we are. We need to understand that wherever we go, we're not hoping to win, we're expected to win. And if you want to win, if you want to be a winner, you have to go after things. Things are not going to be given to you. And Tampa started the game and they came after us. They came after the win since minute 1. We didn't. We were hoping to win. We were not really stepping on the field, wanting to go forward on the front foot and saying we're going to win this game. So we have to keep growing, we have to keep learning, we have to keep pushing and challenging each other and making sure, like I said, that we get the job done next week.
Yeah. Completely agree. Gosh. Yeah, man, it's I don't even know. I'm still trying to kind of grasp of where we go from here. Like I said, I think there was some injury issues with the lineup. The bringing on Trejo, I get that he's kind of working his way back in certain ways, but I think it's just, when you are down in that situation, and you shouldn't even get to that situation. No. When you're down, you kind of have to hope, where's the spark plug? And I've seen it a bit in here. Fede, some people were thinking that he might could be the connector for this team. He hasn't, had some off matches. This was one of them. Carlos Harvey, great player, but when you bring him out in the back, I think that was something that was just kind of a tough look for the team. It's just a tough one, man. There's not really many solutions tonight.
No, there's not. It was truly just poor. I see the comments in here, though. I mean, I know some people are kind of talking about is Juan on the hot seat. I know that's going on in the chat. I still think it's a little bit early for that one.
Certainly.
I feel as though come the end of the season, absolutely, he's got to be judged on what he's done this year, because it's entirely his team. But again, there's a slight difference between this and Rick, because Rick had years to build up the team to what he wanted to do. Yep. Today, Juan has not had that. So, still no Quajo, says SC Collective, setback in training. Yeah, he was kind of still waiting on some swelling to go down in the middle of last year. Last week. God. That's how much this game has aged me. That's how much this game has aged me. Last week feels like last year. It was, I'm expecting Quajo to ultimately kind of come back in the next week or two, probably. But yeah, still waiting on that.
Yeah, I get people want to hold this manager and this staff responsible, as they should. Listen, this is maybe a different conversation further down the road. Still think I'm in agreement with you. Certainly too early. There have been some positive showings, and we did have that stretch where even if the results weren't going our way, there was still positive momentum. It's something that, like you said it earlier, there is usually something to pick out of this team that has been positive, whether it's the fight, whether it's the defense, whether it's some type of response. And this really, to me, and sounds like to you, was the first match where we did not see any of those redeeming qualities.
No, we didn't. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Yep. Scott, looks like Jesse Marsh is available, possibly. Well, yeah, maybe. Well, saw it earlier in the chat, about possibly taking OGs to enjoy a game like this. Certainly helps. I'll say that. Our friends at OGs always cooking up some fantastic stuff. For those of you who like new flavors, got 2 fun announcements for you. First off, they just came out with their fruits package, which combines all the best flavors of watermelon, apple, peach into one convenient bag. Ian, Steve, and Indica. There you go. Absolutely fantastic stuff there. And then they are coming up with their new flavor that launches the 1st of summer on June 21st, pink lemonade. I'm a sucker for good pink lemonade. So enjoy what OG's has to offer. Again, you can follow them on Instagram at OG's Brands. That's OGEEZ Brands on Instagram. And then shout out to our friends at Valley Tap Room. Like we said, we enjoyed some trivia on Tuesday, which, knowing how this game would have gone, seemed to be one of the high points of our podcast for this week. Appreciate everyone who joined us. They're always cooking up trivia on Tuesday. We will have a show on Tuesday, so we will not be able to make it there. But, make sure to join them if you guys are on the east side, and they're always cooking up new activities with beer, which I certainly could use right now. So head on over to Valley Tap Room at the 202 off 202 and Gilbert, and follow them on Instagram at Valley Tap Room.
Yeah. So there is where was it? Losing to 2023 Tampa just hits different, says Goalie Man Pat in the chat here. Because this team has scored 2 goals once in a league game this year. So conceding 2 to them today is poor. Miami FC. That was it.
Yeah, we said it on the show on what's it called? Saturday on oh my god.
I said
Wednesday.
2-2. Yeah.
Dude, goodness gracious, my brain. Wednesday. They have played 10 matches in League and Open Cup this year. Only 3 of them have not finished with one team not scoring. That trend continues. 2-0, another one in the books. It's tough.
Yeah.
Buddy. I would love to transition away from this game. Again, we'll save it for Tuesday. Goodness gracious. Do you happen to catch any USL results that caught your eye?
Let's have a look, because most of them, of course, were being played during Rising's game. Birmingham Legion fall 4-1 at home against Oakland Roots. Legion playing with a man less for the entirety of the second half in that game. Then you look at some of the other results from today. We see Memphis starting to pick themselves up again. They won 2-0 away to Hartford. Detroit City picking up a point at home against Tulsa. So that means that they have, for the second time in a league game this year, scored a goal.
Yep. Well, sounds about right. The only other match.
Very quiet Saturday, broadly speaking.
It was only other match tonight is Orange County versus San Diego Loyal. Maybe let's see if Orange County.
There was Loudon against Indy earlier as well.
Yep. Let's see if Orange County gets that new manager bump. Yeah, man. Do we got anything else we can let's wrap this one up early, eh?
Yeah, let's wrap it up early. I think
beautiful.
It was a dire match, and I think we'd both like to, quite frankly, put it behind us.
Sure would. Well,
for now,
like
at least.
Everyone is, get it. There's a lot of despondency in the chat in what we're saying tonight. And, it's one of those, this is not indicative of the entire season. We take this as a one-off, hopefully, and move on to the next one, as they say. And that's on to the next one for us as well. Join us again on Tuesday at 6 for our usual PHNX Rising podcast Tuesday episode. So appreciate you guys joining us there. Thank you guys in the chat. It's tough to join in the chat after a loss like this, especially one where it's kind of So I really do appreciate you guys. We both appreciate you guys in there. You can follow us on Twitter at PHNX__rising, because double the underscore, apparently double the goals that you allow in. You can
double the miserable games. Miserable today, apparently.
There you go. You can follow me on Twitter at Max David Simpson. You could follow Owen on Twitter at OJ Evans18. Until Tuesday, we will catch you guys then. Have a great rest of your weekend. Go Suns. And until Tuesday, see you guys.